Have you ever wondered why you keep attracting the same kind of relationships? The ones that leave you feeling abandoned, unworthy, or emotionally drained? You change partners, but somehow the story stays the same. Different faces, same heartbreak. It's not a coincidence, it's a pattern. And until you understand what's driving it, you'll keep reliving the same pain again and again. In this video, we're going to dive deep into the truth behind your relationship choices. Why do we chase validation? Why do we crave chaos or feel drawn to people who can't love us the way we need? The answers aren't out there, they're within. And once you understand them, everything changes. You'll discover how early wounds shape your love life, why heartbreak can be a mirror for healing, and how to break free from toxic cycles that have held you back for years. This isn't about blame, it's about freedom. So if you're tired of suffering in love, if you want to attract deeper, healthier connections, and if you're ready to finally heal, stay with me until the very end. Because what you're about to hear could change your entire relationship with love and with yourself. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated on all our latest content. When you feel an intense pull towards someone, that magnetic, almost unexplainable attraction, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is it about this person that I admire so deeply? Could it be that the very traits you see in them are parts of yourself you have yet to fully embrace or awaken? Maybe it's their boldness, their freedom, or their radiant spontaneity that speaks to you because somewhere along the way, your sense of adventure was buried under layers of routine, responsibility, or fear. And just as powerful is the opposite experience, when someone completely irritates you, when their presence triggers you in ways that feel far bigger than the moment itself. Ask yourself gently but honestly, what is it about them that bothers me so much? Could it be that the quality you reject in them is a reflection of a part of yourself you've denied, repressed, or even feared? Maybe it's not just their arrogance that stings. Maybe it's because deep down there's a part of you that struggles with your pride, but you've been too ashamed to admit it. Or maybe their neediness unsettles you because it reminds you of a part of yourself that still aches to be held, seen, or chosen. This kind of self-awareness is not for the faint of heart. It demands brutal honesty. It calls you to look at yourself not with judgment, but with compassionate curiosity. You must be willing to peel back the protective layers and face the hidden parts of your soul, the ones you've locked away, even from yourself. Yet in that raw vulnerability lies your greatest power, because it's through recognition, through shining light on your shadows, that deep, meaningful healing begins. Some of the most difficult people in your life, those who challenge you, frustrate you, even hurt you, are often your most profound teachers. They don't show up to destroy your peace. They show up to reveal where that peace was never truly rooted. There are no coincidences when it comes to the souls that enter your life. They are messengers, mirrors, guides. They reflect to you the lessons your soul is ready to learn. And just as others reflect your inner world, never forget you are a mirror too. Your light, your wounds, your wholeness, your lack, all of it is reflected in the people around you. When you truly grasp this, you no longer take things so personally. You begin to see with greater compassion. When someone lashes out or withdraws, you realize it may have nothing to do with you, but everything to do with the part of themselves they see reflected in you. Instead of reacting defensively, you respond with understanding. You soften. You observe. You grow. This inner work isn't about simply recognizing patterns, it's about transforming them. Once you see what part of yourself is being activated in a difficult relationship, you have a sacred opportunity to heal that part, to stop running, to stop projecting, to finally hold that wounded version of yourself with love. And as you do this inner work, this painful but liberating integration, Your outer world begins to shift. The relationships that once triggered you lose their power. The people who once activated your insecurities begin to fade from your life. You stop being drawn to chaos, to rejection, to emotional unavailability. Instead, you begin to attract people who meet you at the level of your healing, people who see you not as a project to fix, but as a soul to walk beside. People who aren't there to fill your emptiness, because now you no longer feel empty. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a sacred process, often slow, often uncomfortable, but every emotional trigger is a breadcrumb. Every painful reaction is a clue. Don't push them away. Observe them like a loving scientist, not with judgment, but with awe. Wow, you might think, why did that comment shake me so much? And in that pause, that space of reflection, something begins to shift. You reclaim your power. Over time, you'll see the difference. You'll no longer magnetize people who mirror your unhealed wounds. You'll start connecting with those who reflect your growth, your peace, and your truth. Because you'll stop seeking outside of you what you once lacked within. You'll stop using love as a bandage and start living as love itself. You'll no longer need someone to complete you, because you'll realize, with tears and triumph, that you are already whole. And here's the raw divine truth. The parts of yourself you hide, the ones you pretend don't exist, those are the very parts sabotaging your relationships. You can't love fully if you haven't yet accepted all of who you are. Think about it. What are the qualities in yourself that you criticize, that you hide, that you're ashamed to name out loud? That's your shadow. And that shadow is not the enemy. It's the key. Until you integrate your shadow, until you welcome both your light and your darkness, you'll keep projecting your pain onto the people around you. You'll keep playing the same old roles in relationships, hoping for a different ending, but never changing the script. For example, if you get irritated by boastful people, it might be because a part of you longs to be seen, but you're too afraid of appearing arrogant. Or if you constantly feel drawn to those who make you feel inferior, it may be because there's a part of you that still believes you're not worthy of standing tall. This video is not about perfection. It's about wholeness. It's about reclaiming every part of you, not to become flawless, but to become real. When you embrace your totality, your authenticity shines. And from that space, love becomes not something you search for, but something you naturally radiate. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Your shadow also holds your untapped power, your creativity, your boldness, your sensuality, your voice. When you reject it, you're not just hiding your flaws, you're burying your brilliance. So stop looking for love to save you. Stop blaming others for what they trigger in you. Look inward. Lean in. Come home to yourself. Because when you finally accept all that you are, the connections you crave, deep, rich, soul-stirring, become not only possible, but inevitable. Your shadow doesn't only live in your fears, it also shows up in your desires, especially the romantic ones you can't quite explain. So often, we find ourselves irresistibly drawn to people who embody something wild, bold, or free, traits that we, deep down, have buried or disowned in ourselves. If you feel pulled toward dominant, powerful personalities, pause and ask, is there a part of me that longs to step into my power, to lead, to speak up, to take control? But I've always been afraid to. This kind of attraction is not random. It's a calling from your inner self, a whisper from your shadow, begging to be acknowledged. Similarly, if you keep falling for people who need rescuing, ask yourself, am I projecting my own need to be nurtured, held, or emotionally rescued onto someone else? Often, the very help we offer others is the help we secretly crave for ourselves. What makes this even more profound and painful is that shadow sabotage isn't loud or obvious. It's subtle, quiet, and persistent. You might push someone away the moment they get too close, not because they've done anything wrong, but because you're terrified of being abandoned again. Or maybe you resist any suggestion or guidance from your partner, even when it's reasonable, because deep down, you associate closeness with control, and control makes you feel trapped. These are not bad habits. These are coping strategies created by your shadow to keep you safe, at the cost of intimacy. But here's the truth. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Integrating your shadow demands bravery, not the kind that charges forward recklessly, but the kind that sits quietly with the parts of you you've tried to hide. The kind that asks, with compassion rather than criticism, why do I feel this way? Where does this reaction live in me? When someone triggers a strong emotional reaction in you, don't rush to blame. Instead, look inward and ask, is there a piece of me here that I've tried to reject? This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about freeing yourself. Because only in self-awareness can true healing begin. Start small. If you've repressed your creativity, pick up a brush, a pen, or a song and let it flow, not to impress anyone, but to reclaim your voice. If you've denied your deep need for emotional closeness, open your heart slowly, safely, with people you trust. Vulnerability, when embraced wisely, becomes your greatest strength. Over time, these parts of you, the ones you thought were weaknesses, flaws, or shameful secrets, will become sources of power. The very things you once hid will become the parts of you that shine the brightest. One powerful practice? Write a letter to your shadow. Acknowledge it. Thank it for protecting you in the past, even if its methods no longer serve you. Let it know that you're ready to integrate, not abandon it. This simple act of honesty can open a door to profound self-reconciliation. And here's the most beautiful paradox of all. The more you accept your darkest aspects, the more you begin to radiate light. The more you embrace your imperfections, the more others feel safe around your authenticity. Because authenticity is magnetic. The most meaningful relationships, the ones that don't just feel good but grow you, come when two people show up whole, not perfect, not flawless, but honest, integrated, human. You no longer enter a relationship to get something, because you already have yourself. You no longer seek someone to complete you, because you are complete. This changes everything. Your love becomes less about filling a void and more about sharing a fullness. You're no longer afraid of showing your wounds, because they're no longer bleeding. You've tended to them. And in doing so, you create a space for love that is real, grounded, and transformative. Because relationships aren't just about passion or pleasure, they are about growth. They are sacred mirrors, showing you the truth about who you are, what you believe, and what you still need to heal. Every disagreement, every trigger, every moment of distance is an invitation, an opportunity, a lesson. And when you start seeing love as a classroom rather than a fairy tale, the magic begins. You begin to understand why you always end up in similar patterns, why the faces change, but the wounds remain. It's not because you're cursed or unlucky. It's because there's a part of you crying out for healing. If you constantly chase safety in a partner, it's because you haven't found safety within. If you fear being alone, it may be because you haven't learned how to sit with your soul. But here's the hope. Once you see these patterns, you can change them. And when you use love as a tool for growth, rather than a destination of comfort, it transforms you. You begin to evolve into someone who doesn't fear intimacy, but welcomes it. Into someone who doesn't run from conflict, but grows through it. Relationships become your most powerful teachers, your clearest mirrors. Each one carries a lesson your soul is ready for. Until you learn it, the pattern will repeat. But once you do, once you see it, feel it, heal it, the pattern breaks, and a new chapter begins. So if you've always attracted emotionally unavailable people, ask yourself, What part of you has been emotionally unavailable to yourself? If you've always been the saver, the one who fixes, ask what part of you needs saving. Because here's the deepest truth of all. Your shadow is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your guide, your unclaimed power. And the moment you embrace it, not with shame, but with love, you begin the journey not just toward better relationships, but toward a fuller, freer, more beautiful you. And that is the version of you that will attract love, not based on need, but on wholeness. Not out of fear, but out of truth. Not for escape, but for evolution. Let love be the mirror, the teacher, the path, not the prize. Maybe your constant need to be in control, to manage, to micromanage, to plan every detail isn't about strength at all. Maybe it's a shield, a silent, desperate way of saying, please don't leave me, because underneath that desire to control everything lies a deep, trembling fear of abandonment. These realizations can feel heavy, even unsettling, but they are sacred gifts. Yes, they're uncomfortable. Yes, they can shake you. But if you are truly seeking personal growth, these are the treasures you cannot afford to ignore. They are the doorways to freedom. Even your deepest attractions, the ones that feel magnetic, almost fated, are not random. They are teachers, soul mirrors. They draw you toward qualities that have been buried within you, waiting to be remembered. If you're enchanted by someone's wild, unshackled freedom, perhaps it's because your own life has felt too rigid, too boxed in, and deep down, your soul is crying out to break free. If someone's creative spirit lights you up, it could be that your inner artist, your poet, your painter, your dreamer, has been quietly waiting for permission to come alive. Those intense, soul-stirring attractions are not mistakes. They're maps, guiding you to the unexpressed beauty and potential that's been locked inside of you. And heartbreak, oh, heartbreak, as brutal as it feels, can be the greatest turning point of your life. When a relationship ends, you stand at a powerful crossroads. One path leads to blame, resentment, and repeating the same cycle with someone new. The other leads inward, toward healing, reflection, and wisdom. One path makes you bitter. The other makes you better. You get to choose. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. Mature love doesn't chase perfection. It doesn't say, fix me, or be everything I need. It says, let's grow together. It's not built on the illusion of flawlessness, but on the truth of evolution. In a relationship like this, challenges don't threaten the bond, they strengthen it. Each conflict becomes an invitation to rise higher, together. Here's the beautiful twist. When you stop using love to avoid your wounds and start using it to understand yourself, happiness finds you. It's not the fleeting, conditional kind of happiness. It's the kind that sinks deep into your bones and says, I am whole, with or without a partner. You stop needing everything to be perfect. You stop chasing fairy tales. Instead, you learn to embrace the messy, sacred beauty of growth through love. The shift begins the moment you stop saying, why do I always end up with the wrong kind of person? And start asking, what part of me is still choosing them? That one question, asked with courage and humility, can change your entire life. Because in that moment, you reclaim your power. You are no longer a victim of fate or heartbreak. You become the conscious creator of your experiences. You no longer wait to be saved. You start saving yourself. But make no mistake, this journey takes real courage. You have to be willing to face the uncomfortable truths, to question long-held beliefs, to release outdated identities that once kept you safe, but now hold you back. It's not easy, but it's worth everything, because what awaits you on the other side is not just better relationships, it's a better you. More authentic, more aware, more free. So why do we keep falling into the same painful relationship patterns? The answer lies beneath the surface. buried in your subconscious. The same patterns that leave you feeling unloved, unseen, or unworthy are not just coincidences, they're clues. Signals from the depths of your inner world, begging you to pay attention. If you're always drawn to people who hurt you, betray you, or ignore you, it may be because there is a wounded part of you still hoping that this time someone will finally choose you. If you constantly seek validation, maybe it's because you've never felt like enough. Maybe you've spent your life believing that love must be earned, proven, or fought for. But here's the truth. You are already enough. You don't need to perform to be loved. You don't need to chase or beg or shrink yourself. The love you seek on the outside begins with the love you give yourself on the inside. This video, this message, is your invitation to break the cycle, to see the pattern, to face it head on, and finally say, no more. Toxic relationship patterns are not just bad luck. They are mathematical, almost surgical in their precision. You can switch partners, cities, jobs, but if you don't heal the root, the same dynamic will follow you like a shadow. You'll feel like you're stuck in a loop, because in many ways, you are. Why? Because your brain is wired to seek what's familiar, even when familiar is painful, even when it breaks your heart. Especially if as a child, you learned that love meant proving yourself, surviving criticism, or earning affection by being good enough. If love was unpredictable in your childhood, if it came and went like the tide, your nervous system may now associate inconsistency with passion. It may confuse anxiety with connection. And until you see that clearly, you will keep choosing the very people who activate your wounds. You don't do this because you're broken. You do it because you're human. But there is a way out. And it starts with self-awareness. Look at your history as if you're watching a film. What roles do you keep playing? Do you always feel like the abandoned one? The fixer? The one who gives too much? Or the one who pulls away the moment someone gets too close? These roles aren't random, they are patterns. Patterns that began long before your first heartbreak. So ask yourself, what am I looking for? Is it love or is it safety? Is it companionship or is it validation? Is it intimacy or is it permission to finally feel seen? The moment you begin to ask better questions, your healing begins. And the moment you realize that love is not something you find, but something you build, everything changes. These patterns that repeat in your life, the betrayal, the control, the heartbreak, are not accidents. They are not random. They are messages. Each repetition is a clue, a flashing light pointing directly to an emotional wound that still lives inside you. A wound that has not yet been seen, heard, or healed. Behind every toxic relationship pattern is a limiting belief, buried so deep that you may not even realize it's there, but it's driving your choices. If you keep attracting people who betray you, it may be because somewhere in your subconscious, you believe you're not worthy of loyalty, that you don't deserve to be chosen, respected, or fought for. If you always end up in relationships where you feel suffocated, controlled, or manipulated, it could be because there's a part of you that doubts your ability to lead your own life. These beliefs are like invisible magnets, silently pulling you toward experiences that validate them. Not because you want pain, but because pain feels familiar. And the mind, as strange as it sounds, finds comfort in the familiar. Neuroscience backs this up. These patterns aren't just emotional, they're neurological. The brain wires itself through repetition. Each time you accept mistreatment, dismiss your needs, or chase someone who withdraws, your brain lays down a stronger neural path that says, this is what love feels like. To break the cycle, you must create new experiences and repeat those. You must become consciously aware of what you're choosing and ask yourself whether it's a reflection of your worth or your wounds. And this awareness begins with the body. Your body knows. The same way it tightens when danger is near, it also responds to emotional danger. But we've learned to ignore these signals. that intense pull towards someone toxic, that rush of excitement, that false safety, that magnetic energy that feels like home. It's not your soul recognizing a soulmate. It's your trauma recognizing something. It knows. But once you learn to recognize the difference, to feel the difference between real safety and familiar dysfunction, you gain power. You step out of autopilot and into conscious choice. And here's where boundaries come in. Boundaries are not walls to keep love out. They are bridges to keep self-respect in. If you know that you tend to lose yourself in relationships, you must create daily rituals that reconnect you to who you are outside of your partner, outside of the dynamic. If you find yourself drawn to people with narcissistic traits, set clear, non-negotiable standards. Define the behaviors you will no longer tolerate. Write them down, speak them aloud. Let them be the protective fence around your peace. Setting boundaries is not about punishing others. It's about protecting you. It's a sacred act of self-love that says, I am no longer available for the kind of love that hurts. And, let's be honest, stepping away from what's familiar will feel uncomfortable. If you're used to the intensity, chaos and emotional highs and lows, a stable, gentle love might initially feel dull, boring, even. You might question it. But that's not boredom. That's your nervous system adjusting to peace. You are rewiring. You are healing. Just remember, this isn't a one-time decision. This isn't a straight road. It's a journey. And like any journey, it will come with setbacks. There will be days you want to run back to the familiar. There will be temptations to reach for what once felt like home, even if it hurts you. But each time you pause, each time you breathe through the discomfort and make a different choice, you are building new neural circuits. You are becoming someone new, someone free. This is the power of neuroplasticity. The brain can change, and so can you. With every conscious choice, every brave step away from dysfunction and towards self-respect, you're not just surviving your patterns, you're transforming them. And that transformation isn't about becoming perfect in relationships. It's not about never making mistakes again or choosing the right person every time. It's about becoming aware, because awareness gives you freedom. When you are no longer ruled by unconscious programming, you can finally choose love, not from fear, not from trauma, not from need, but from clarity. And when you choose from clarity, your relationships begin to mirror who you are now, not who you were when you were still aching, still unsure, still looking for love to fix what only you could heal. You were never broken, only fragmented. And as you begin this work of integration, you'll find that you are more powerful, more lovable, and more whole than you ever knew. You don't have to love from emptiness anymore. You don't have to grip tightly to someone just to feel worthy or whole. You can love, not from desperation or compulsion, but from a place of fullness, freedom, and inner peace. Because authentic love is not something you find, it's something you become. It's something you create within yourself, long before it ever takes form in another. When you begin to love yourself unconditionally, in your strength, in your sorrow, in your silence, and even in your mess, love stops being a chase. It stops being a question of, am I enough? And becomes a quiet, unwavering truth. You are loved. You carry it. You radiate it. It lives in every cell of you. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons helpful, please comment on number 3 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And that's the shift that changes everything. Because until you understand this, you'll keep searching outside of yourself for something that only exists within. You'll keep begging for love, performing for it, trying to earn it, when all along, it was waiting for you to remember who you are. Love is not something you give or receive to feel validated. It's the essence of who you are. When you live in that place, your relationships no longer feel like battlegrounds. They become extensions of your soul. Because love is not a final destination. It's not a box to check or a finish line to cross. Love is a journey. A sacred, sometimes messy, often miraculous journey back to yourself. It is the unfolding of your truest self, the unraveling of old stories, the healing of ancient wounds. It is the slow, brave process of shedding everything that is not love, so that only love remains. Love, when approached consciously, is not just beautiful, it is transformational. It challenges you. It stretches you in places you didn't know needed to grow. It doesn't just hand you bliss. It mirrors your deepest fears, your forgotten dreams, your buried traumas, and says, "Look here, this is where the healing begins." It invites you to rise above fear, to surrender your ego, and to open your heart, even if that heart has been shattered before. Especially if it has, because only a heart that has broken open can truly know what it means to love without fear. That's why real love isn't easy. It isn't always gentle. It will push you. It will expose you. It may even bring you to your knees, not to break you, but to rebuild you from the ground up. And what you rebuild will be real. It will be steady. It will be yours. You become someone who no longer begs to be chosen, but instead chooses yourself every day. You stop chasing approval because you've found peace in your presence. You don't just attract love, you embody it. And that's when something magical begins to happen. You start drawing in people who meet you on the frequency of your healing, not your wounds. People who aren't looking to fix you or fill you, but to grow alongside you. You create relationships built not on trauma bonds or unhealed patterns, but on mutual respect, emotional honesty, and soul-level alignment. You realize you don't need to fight for love. You don't need to beg anyone to stay. The people who are meant to walk with you, the ones aligned with your light, will stay because they want to, because they recognize your truth, because they are healing too. But it all begins with awareness, with the sacred pause, with the willingness to ask the uncomfortable questions, to sit with your patterns, your triggers, your old stories, not with shame, but with softness, with curiosity, with compassion. You begin to ask, why did that comment cut so deeply? Or why do I keep choosing what hurts me? These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of awakening. They are the beginning of a new chapter, one where you no longer live on autopilot, but instead write your story with intention. Because here's the truth. You can only meet another person as deeply as you have dared to meet yourself. If you want deep, soul-anchored intimacy, you must first be willing to sit with your own soul. To be intimate with your own fears, your longings, your past, you must hold space for your inner child, comfort your adult self, and forgive the person you were when you didn't know better. Because love begins with you. And when you finally return to yourself, fully, unapologetically and wholeheartedly, you stop searching for love, and you start living it. That's the true gift of love, not just the butterflies, the laughter, or the comfort of shared moments, but the sacred mirror it holds up to your soul. It reflects everything, not just your beauty, but also your brokenness. It shows you where you are whole and radiant, and where you are still cracked, where the light hasn't quite reached yet. And in that reflection, love doesn't judge. It invites. It offers you a powerful, life-altering choice. Do you continue living out the old stories, repeating the same patterns that have kept you small, or do you rise into something new, something truer? Every single person who walks into your life is either a mirror, a teacher, or both. Some will awaken your joy. Others will stir your pain. And some, the most unforgettable ones, will awaken your growth. When you start seeing love, not as a fantasy to fulfill you or a fix for your wounds, but as a furnace for transformation, everything begins to shift. You stop labeling heartbreak as a failure. You begin to see it as refinement, a divine sculpting of the soul. You stop avoiding conflict like it's poison, and instead start welcoming it as a sacred alarm clock, calling you into deeper awareness, higher emotional maturity, and spiritual expansion. Because real love, soul-shaping love, is not just about finding someone to grow old with. It's about finding someone to grow with, to rise with, to evolve beside, hand in hand, to challenge one another lovingly, and be willing to be challenged in return, to reflect each other's shadows with tenderness, and each other's light with awe. But before you meet that kind of person, before the external connection, you must return inward. You must become that partner for yourself. You must hold your own heart through its storms, stand beside your pain instead of abandoning it, and choose yourself not just on the lonely days, but every single day. Choosing yourself as a practice, as an act of devotion, as a way of life. This is not easy. It's not glamorous. It's not the kind of work that gets praise or applause. It's often quiet, raw, and humbling. But it is worth it. Every time you pause instead of lashing out, every time you breathe instead of blaming, every time you choose to stay present, to speak with honesty, to show up without your armor, you are rewriting your story. And with each conscious choice, you become a little more free. And that freedom, it's not the kind that depends on perfect conditions or fairy tale endings. It's the peace that says, even if everything falls apart, I will not. I trust myself. I know who I am. That's what true love, the love that begins within and extends outward, gives you. That's what healing your patterns unlocks. It's not just about attracting better relationships. It's about becoming someone who no longer begs for crumbs, who no longer confuses chaos for passion, who no longer fears being alone. It's about becoming a soul that knows, deeply knows, that you were born to feast at the table of real sacred connection. And you won't settle for less, because now you finally remember your worth. So, after everything we've explored together, the mirrors, the patterns, the healing, and the power of choosing love from a place of wholeness, I want to ask you, what have you learned about yourself today? Was there a moment that struck a chord, a truth that made you pause, a pattern you now see more clearly? Take a moment to reflect, and then share with us in the comments what is one thing you've learned from this video that you will bring into your own life starting today. Whether it's setting boundaries, embracing your shadow, or choosing to love yourself more deeply, your insight might inspire someone else too. And if this message resonated with you, if you felt seen, empowered, or gently challenged, please leave your comment below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more soul-nourishing content like this. You're not alone in this journey. We're walking it with you. Until next time, take care of your heart, choose growth, and remember, you are already enough.